rise and shout. Let's get to what's trending. What's trending, presented by Tim Daly Ford, part of the Tim Daly Auto Group, serving Utah since 1968. Trap games are the topic of choice. As we look at the 2023 BYU football schedule, 10 Power Fives, first time ever. They open with 2 games the Cougars should win and will be heavily favored in. Of those 12 games on the regular season schedule, Jarom, which qualifies as the biggest trap game for BYU?
So it's game 10, and it's Iowa State.
Really?
Here's why it's Iowa State. The week before, BYU is coming off its longest road trip of the season at West Virginia. So that will take a toll in some way on BYU. Hopefully not in the game. Hopefully just early the next week. BYU's a little gassed, whatnot. We'll see what time that game's at. Then BYU comes home for Iowa State. But the next week is what you look at with the trap game. It's that Oklahoma on Senior Day is sitting there. And hopefully BYU's bowl eligible and 6-4 at this point, or 6-3 or something, and really ahead of it where they're not like, fighting for a bowl game at this point. But it's kind of a 50-50, right, for ESPN FPI there, nearly. Oklahoma is enticing whether they're good or not sitting there on Senior Day. I just hope BYU doesn't look ahead, which is the main trap thing for me, to where BYU is focused on Iowa State, who hopefully BYU can win at home. To me, that's one of the more winnable games at home. But if you're peeking ahead too far and you go, ooh, Oklahoma next week, Senior Day, where hopefully BYU's in a position, again, where a bowl game's in play or they've clinched and maybe they need it. Maybe that helps. But Iowa State, to me, is a little tricky, not because of Iowa State, but because of travel the week before and a massive opponent coming up the next week.
Is BYU even capable of overlooking a Power 5 opponent? That's why I struggled with this topic. They're all Power 5 opponents.
Yes, they are capable.
I just, because BYU has never played a full conference Power 5 schedule, I just don't know. I don't know that they can even get to a mindset where they're at liberty of overlooking.
Liberty, you say?
That was the trap game last year, and I picked it.
Yeah.
And I hate that I was right about it. I hated that game. That's one of my least favorite games in BYU football history, the Liberty game. I don't feel like there is that type of opponent once you get deep into the schedule for BYU. When you have 10 Power 5s. So I'm like, can BYU, can they even get there? Can they even get to a point where they're like, yeah, we should probably beat this Power 5 opponent?
1 gajillion %. Because BYU feels like it's been Power 5 worthy for a long time, right? So it's like, well, within this space, we feel like we should win this game at home, regardless of who it is, right?
You can make
BYU
the same case
absolutely get to this.
You can make the same case with that setup and your logic for Texas Tech, with Texas approaching,
right? That's my second pick. Texas Tech would be that.
So if that logic applies,
squeezed between TCU on the road and Texas on the road. That one's a tough one.
So both home games with big name, huge brand opponents later down the line.
Yeah, that's the definition of trap game. We've overlooked this team because next week it's a bigger game.
And see, I just don't know. I just can't. I could not buy into this morning the idea that BYU can overlook a Power 5 conference Big 12 opponent in their inaugural season. Maybe a few years down the road, I don't know.
No, it'll happen quickly, trust me.
BYU's the new kid, so...
BYU, listen, if BYU starts 4-1, we're getting cocky fast, okay?
Okay, hear me out. Hear me out. Okay, this is, and I can't wait for the backlash to this. Betzer, what are you talking about? My trap game is the season opener against Sam Houston State. BYU, listen, what is the definition of a trap game? Overlooked opponent, big favorite often, okay? Supposed to dominate. I think the line's too high. So do you. We talked about this. 24
Yeah, but we're talking about winning
favorite.
and losing, not margin.
Tons of big games ahead. 10 Power 5s later down the line. Like, BYU's supposed to handle Sam Houston State.
Sure.
The Cougars have 20 transfers. They have an entirely revamped defensive staff. This is the first game, first time they will have an opportunity to try and gel all together on the field in game number 1. Yes, Sam Houston State is not by any means a powerful opponent, but they have great history. They have great pride in their product. Their head coach, Casey Keeler, 80-23 now into his 8th season. They were the FCS. They were the FCS national champions in 2020. They're a perennial FCS power. They've been to the national championship game 3 times in the last 12 years. This is a program that has everything to prove, nothing to lose, to go out and try and make some type of statement against BYU. If the Cougars are not sharp and don't come out of the gate playing well with all of these new pieces and they're trying to figure things out, I wouldn't be surprised if it got weird for a little while.
But is BYU losing the game?
No, but that doesn't necessarily mean like a trap game doesn't mean that the team ultimately loses. It's just, are you caught off guard? Like, whoa, can it get to that weird territory? If BYU is not careful against their season opening opponent with all of the things that lie ahead, first Big 12 year, Arkansas, Kansas, Cincinnati, all
Southern
these
Utah the
games.
next game, but yeah.
So BYU's supposed to dominate the first 2 games, which we hope they will, which we think they should.
If they don't win by 17 plus, it's a disappointment.
Exactly.
But 17 is still underwhelming against Sam Houston. Sam Houston has had an incredible defense, but their offense is terrible.
It was last year.
If the BYU defense doesn't show up, sure, but okay, Sam Houston.
I'm looking at the
battle of 2 dudes.
The definition of trap game, which is just you're supposed to dominate, you overlook the opponent. There are several big games down the line. It's just we'll take care of them and then get on to the next big thing, which eventually will become Arkansas. Yeah, Sam Houston, Southern Utah is not a good FCS program. Sam Houston has the history of being a great FCS program, and they're making the jump to Division I. So again, they have nothing to lose. BYU's paying them to come to Provo. This is a situation where BYU in years recent has relished, like they have thrived. You paid us to come and play this game. You're supposed to kick our butts. And in some cases, BYU's won that game.
BYU a different kind of opponent to those opponents than Sam Houston to BYU. But yes.
I'm just saying, like, it could get weird if BYU is not sharp out of the gate.
And that's okay.
So many new things for BYU. Sam Houston does return a lot of experience, even though they were only 5-4 last year.
Yeah,
not a great season.
Their offense was pathetic.
Okay?
The defense was really good.
Defense, super good. Again, they have nothing to lose and everything to gain, everything to prove that, hey, we belong. Let's go out and play a tough game.
I don't expect BYU to be that sharp in game 1, frankly. It's a new quarterback, a new running back, a revamped offensive line with new guys. I don't expect BYU to be gangbusters in game 1.
Which factors into why I picked Sam Houston.
I do expect BYU to win by 17 plus in game 1. Yeah.
So but you said if they win by only 17, that would be underwhelming.
17 plus is great. Yeah.
Okay, so as long as it's at least 17, you're okay with this.
And then listen. It's about just fine tuning those first 2 so that you're competitive in the Big 12, and that you're into a flow. I don't need BYU to win at Arkansas, but I do need BYU to hopefully beat Kansas on the road and Cincinnati at home and start 4-1 would be nice. Now you will go to a bowl game if you start 4-1. Like you're going to win 2 of the next 7.
That's the hope. That's BYU. Whoever they beat, they can just piece together a 4-1 record in the opening 5.
That'd be amazing. Okay. I'd take 3-2 right now.
You win at Arkansas, you lose at Kansas, but you beat Cincinnati. Great, you're 4-1.
Yeah.
I don't care how BYU gets to 4-1. I just hope they get to 4-1. But if we're just talking straight up trap game, this game makes me a little bit weary because it's the first. It's new, and there are so many new parts for BYU.
Even if it was Southern Utah, it's. I don't expect just gangbusters. It's not going to be 0-1 where BYU comes out with 70 on Tulane. Like I would love that.
We're hoping it's not 2017 where BYU struggles against Portland State, right?
Well, that's not just Portland State. That's a pathetic BYU team. Like that's the worst BYU team in the last 50 years.
That BYU team was picked to win 10 games by Bill Connolly and ESPN.
In Vegas, yes, but. No, that was a terrible BYU team. So I don't compare this team to that team at all, unless we think this team's going to be pathetic.
I don't think it's going to be either.
We don't.
Just saying we're hoping that is not the case.
We talked about trap game. Which one's the crap game, though, really? Which one on the schedule is like, oh, crap, that game? I don't know. There's not one where I go, there's no chance BYU wins. Like, there's not a game like that. Not at Arkansas, not at Texas, not at TCU, Oklahoma at home. There's no crap game. But there are trap games, as we've highlighted. So in case you missed it, in case you're just joining us, I said Iowa State. Spence said Sam Houston.
Yeah.
Okay? Which inevitably there's a game or 2 or 3 that sometimes you overlook. The wild thing last year is the trap game was Oregon and Liberty. Like a couple of Oregon, BYU did not show up at all. It was like, what happened? We're ranked 12th in the country. Shouldn't we at least have a lead at some point in this thing and be competitive? No, it wasn't.
Oregon had been blown out by Georgia. Nope. They were embarrassed, so we thought, oh, this is the year Oregon's gettable.
No.
Not the case.
It was the year that Georgia was not gettable. That's we looked into that domination a little too much. Yeah.
Oh, like I said, I know that many of you are thinking, no way is Sam Houston State a trap game. But by definition, I just laid it out for you. It's everything that goes typically into a trap game. Opponent you're supposed to dominate. It's at home. The BYU has no reason to not show up and just crush this team. They're a 24-point favorite. But this is not your typical former FCS team. And this is a national championship caliber team.
Well, they're
in the FCS level.
Yeah, they went 5-4 last year.
I know. I know. The program has a ton of pride, so it makes me just a little bit weary.
Pride scores touchdowns. That's great.
If it makes you play harder, who knows? Who knows? Things can get weird. I hope they don't.